You are watching Hockey in the Fort podcast. Now, with tonight's podcast, we've got Nick, Ed, and Don. Take it away, boys.
All right, everybody. We are here for another episode during this stupid coronavirus time. So we are welcoming Matthieu Curadeau with us. All of you guys remember back in the 07, 08, 10.
Is it welcome or is it welcome?
Welcome.
Eat one. So go ahead and send in as many questions as you can while I flip these guys off as I'm sitting across the table. And we'll get going. So, Matt, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. I know you're bored up there, so hopefully this helps.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started how we always do. We always go with we have you kind of give us your history of when you started playing all the way up until what you're doing now.
Well, I started playing hockey. I was about 4 years old. For I don't know what reason exactly, because nobody in my family was actually playing hockey. So my dad actually asked me just to choose a sport, and he always make the joke that I choose the most expensive one. So
yeah,
this is so I started playing hockey in the North Shore of Montreal for all my minor hockey. After that, I played junior major in Val d'Or and Gatineau for my 4 years of juniors. After that, I went a little bit in Ottawa University before I decided to go pro. So my journey started with the Fort Wayne Komets. I played 2 years there, won two championships. I won 1 year in Kalamazoo in the East Coast League. Tried something different, tried to go my way up. And during that time, I also played in Norfolk, Rooster, Hamilton in the American Hockey League. I did 2 NHL camps with the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers. And I came back 1 more year in Fort Wayne. That was actually my last season.
Okay.
And now I'm a hockey agent, so I'm still in the hockey industry. I still work in hockey, in a totally different aspect of the game.
But it's still a fun one.
Yeah, I like it. It's really challenging. There's kind of start that for fun at the beginning, and we got a lot of success right away. So it turns pretty busy.
So did you start like the route that I go in the like advising and scouting, or did you just jump right into agency?
The agency was something I had behind my head when I actually went to Ottawa University. I was in management, and that was a road I was thinking about. And I met a young kid named Nick Wallet, a good friend of mine now. I was talking with his dad, and he started asking me if I would give him some advice. He was first year bantam back then, and I said, yeah, why not? I'm just do it for fun. And I started to do some advising, try to bring him to the next level. And I actually my wife's mother, she's the one who gave me the last kick that I need to say, hey, you should start the agency you were talking about. And I just launched that. Start going after bantam players to obviously here it's more about junior than college. So start taking some bantam players, try to make them better.
Nice. It's always fun to talk to somebody that's been the same route.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll get into your time with the Komets. So you started in 07, 08, right? Your first year with the K's?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what was it like coming in as a rookie? And that was a pretty tight-knit team back then. What was it like to just jump in and join in with those guys?
Well, for a guy from Montreal, we never really heard about the Fort Wayne Komets before I got a call from my agent back there, asking me if I will be interested to go pro. And when I saw back then that the Komets was in the International Hockey League, kind of went around to players that I knew and asked if it was a good fit. And obviously only good words was around the Fort Wayne Komets. So when I got there, obviously I'm French, so At first, it was a little bit challenging. Try to try to do everything on my own at 22 years old. So, but when I saw the Coliseum, for me, it was like, wow, this is a great place. I was really, really pumped about playing in that huge arena. And, yeah, I mean, it was just, obviously we had an amazing team that year too. So it would make it a little bit more easier on me.
Yeah. So who was the guy that made you feel as welcome as possible right when you got here?
Well, obviously as French Canadian, as soon as you get in a city like that, you're trying to look for other French guy at first. So me and Olivier Legault were actually both rookies at the same time. So we hang out a lot together. But I remember a guy like Guy Dupuis, who actually speaks French, was really welcoming to us.
Sure.
Chucker, well, Chucker is Chucker. I think he's just a great guy all around. So I mean, everybody was pretty easy actually and fit with these guys. It was not super hard. Obviously in the camp, you just want to make your spot and make the team. So I was more focused on that, and I was with Olivier Legault most of my time at the beginning.
So we're pretty close with Legs, and he's a real good friend of the show. Well. And so what's some good stories of Legs? Because I do see him watching this actually. So he's probably just as bored as all of us.
Yeah, probably, I guess. Well, I don't have the exact stories coming in, but one thing I remember is I'm pretty sure it's actually our first pro game. Me and Legs were playing on the same line, and at some point you look at me, it's like, hey Matt, just can you try to do something, start something so I can jump into there and like maybe get a fight or something. I'm like, oh, okay. And I always remember I went straight and I hit the goalie. And I still remember that video of me hitting the goalie, tried to sneak out of there because everybody jumped on me, and just you see Legs with the big boy. I don't remember the name of the guy of the other team. Probably Legs remember, but you just get that. I think it was like a 6'8" or 6'9" guy, and they just start going at it, and Legs coming back to like penalty box after that, where we went into the room and like. Seriously? Like, that was the best idea you had to do something?
Oh, I'd like to say I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I really like to get under skins of players. So, I mean, and that was my first pro game too. So I want to make it
make an impression.
Yeah. I remember too, like that before that first game, Alston's met with me, Legs, and Sedachev.
Okay.
And he said, you guys gonna be like only two of us gonna be in the lineup every night. So try to make sure that you do something good and blah blah. And me and Legs were in for the first game, and then this happened. I scored the first game, I scored the second game, and the third game as well. So after that, I knew my spot was there and pretty safe.
I would hope so.
So, hey, Matthieu, got a fan that's asking, what's your favorite memory with the Komets besides the championships?
Well, obviously championship are the biggest part, but other than that, I think I will say the group that we had, especially the first year, like coming in as a rookie, and I remember some of these guys saying, and one guy I look up to a lot that he came in a little bit later in the season was PC Drouin. And PC for me, like French guy coming in, played in the NHL before. He was like, for me, he was like a mentor, him and Chaperonat. And I remember these guys saying, and PC never won a championship before, and he was maybe 34, 35 years old back then. And he told me, like, I never had that chance before. So like I think this year we have a shot and try to enjoy it. And like you don't realize to win a championship on your first year that it might never come back. and that was fun. But just the group, the chemistry in that team, we had a lot of funny guys, and it was a hell of a year. You know, I don't remember. I think we lost like 8 games or something like that. So
Yeah.
it was it was just fun. Like every night playing in the jungle, and it's a lot of great memories.
So we're also pretty close with Leo, and
Yeah,
he said he had a lot of good memories of you, but he wouldn't share. So what memories do you have of him?
Well, seriously, I was pretty quiet. I think obviously I was an emotional player on the ice, but off the ice I was pretty quiet guy, and you know, it's strange just to hang out with the boys. And I remember Leo because actually the Komets made a trade to go get Leo when I was in Norfolk. And when I saw the trade, I was like, "Oh my God! If I ever come back to Fort Wayne, we're gonna be unbeatable." Like that. That was it. Was like in my head. It's like if I get sent down, we're gonna win another championship, and that's exactly what happened. So.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet too. At least nowadays, he's pretty quiet.
Leo, yeah. Well, he was doing his own thing. I was like I said, everybody in the locker room though, like you had guys like Aquino, Chucker, that was a little bit more loud and more, you know, making more jokes around. But we have a lot of quiet guys just, you know, doing their thing. But I just felt like everybody was just good together. You know, it's that type. You know, every hockey season you have 1 or 2 guys who's like, oh my God, this guy is annoying, and but that. Especially the first year, I don't even remember one player that I was like, oh my God, I don't want to hang out with him. Just like everybody was so nice, and it was really easy run. Well, before the final, that we were down 3-1, but before that it was pretty easy.
So you keep mentioning Chalker. Got any good memories of him besides holding the cup up?
I don't know. Chucker was doing so many things, so funny, all the time. He was a true leader, I believe, to get the team together. And Chucker was funny, but he was also serious. Every time he has to be serious. I remember though playing a lot with because Chucker has so many habits in the locker room with his gloves and his sticks, and I remember messing around with his stuff every time he was off the locker room, trying to play with his gloves, take his glove dryer, or like, you know, it was fun. He would come in the room and just snap, and everybody would get a good laugh.
Well, he was kind of a germaphobe too, wasn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, he was even before he got I don't remember the name, but he got sick there. He was already taking so much everything care, you know, like cleaning everything, but he's the one that got a bacteria like that. So it wasn't funny. It was pretty scary actually back then.
Yeah. So I've heard some stories about him getting shower shoes and people hiding the shower shoes at times, and he was just getting completely pissed.
Absolutely. Oh, he had a lot of strange habits. That's for sure.
So what was it like going from the jump from like the Q up until to Ottawa and then to the pros?
Well, when I finished my junior career, I got my trial with the Boston Bruins, and when you sent me down, I decided to go to Ottawa University because I thought maybe, you know, go to school would be a better route for me, and sometimes sitting there for 3 hours listening to someone trying to teach you some math and stuff like that. So, well, you know what? Maybe I'll try to give a shot in hockey. And and it was I trained so hard that summer because in my head it's like, okay, I have one shot, I want to take it. I really took it seriously. It's probably the summer I worked the hardest I ever worked. Even after that, I mean, I remember getting second or third practice, Salsons came to me, he's like, wow, you're really in shape. And I was so happy to hear that because I really worked hard that summer. So, like I said, before the first game, I wasn't sure to be in the lineup every night. And after that, I just started scoring goals, and I was like, oh my God. And if you look at my stats, I was more a defensive forward playing junior. My job was to watch guys like Sidney Crosby and Claude Giroux and David Krejci and all that stuff, try to get under their skin. And I was more a defensive player. Mm-hmm. And when I get it for Wayne, for some reason, every time I was shooting the puck was going in. And that was kind of a new – I remember when I was younger, I was scoring a lot of goals, and it seemed like I was getting that back. And I got a lot of confidence, and after that, I got called up with the Rooster, which I was the first guy in the team get called up that year. I was like, oh my God, okay. So it was the transition wasn't too bad, but I was really prepared for it though. I really worked hard.
Now, when you say you went to Worcester, were they the Sharks back then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we were watching earlier today on a thing, and they showed the Worcester Sharks, and I was like, oh, I forgot all about that. Because now it's the Worcester Railers.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I remember getting there with guys with Logan Couture and David Sitoguchi. And there was a lot of good players in that team.
Just a couple big names.
Mm-hmm.
So,
name dropping there.
We got a couple other questions here. We got a couple other questions from fans. Your favorite memory on the bus traveling with the Komets? Any good bus trip?
Singing songs all the time.
I could see Lucy doing that.
He was always doing those funny stuff. Even after wins, he will sing some songs to the coach, and Luciano was so funny. He will never stop, and Chucker will crank him up. So some bus ride. I think Aquino was the funniest guy in the bus, trying to, especially after wins. That will be my favorite memories, and obviously, I'm missing those road trips with the boys and going on the road and playing some cards in the bus, and that it's a lot of the time those are really long traveling trip, but
yep.
I mean it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
So yeah, some of my favorite memories when I played. I missed the bus trips.
So one thing that we didn't, it's one thing you said that we didn't hit on. Who was that prick that you didn't like playing with?
Throughout your whole career.
Throughout your whole career.
Any teams. Doesn't just have to be for a win.
I guess playing with and playing against. Let's do both.
Yeah, we always do the against too. The guy that just pissed you off out of their skin.
Playing with, seriously, I will say Zenon Konopka in Norfolk. And that guy was mean on the ice, but he was mean off the ice too. In the locker room, he will, and I was a young player. After a loss, I saw him grab some guys in the locker room because some guys were laughing, stuff like that. He was. I just didn't get the guy seriously. And then, I know he was a hell of a hockey player. I really liked it, like the player, but off the ice was not someone I could see hang out with off the ice. And playing against, I mean, there's a lot of guys because
there had to be that guy.
Really
there had to be a guy that you were like, damn it, we got to play them again. Maybe even like across leagues, like you got called up and you're like, oh, good, I'm away from him. And then shit, he got called up. And now I got to play against him again.
Well, a good story I have for you guys is I forgot his first name, but McIntyre. He played in the NHL and American Hockey League too. He's a big, tough guy. And I got called up in Hamilton, and he cut in the middle of the ice, and I was coming the opposite direction, and I I hit him so hard. Actually, I don't know how to describe that, but I hit him so hard that I land on him at the end on the ice. And after that, I got up and I thought it was him. I was like, oh my God, like what did I just done? And after that, every shift I was getting on the ice, obviously he was jumping in. It's like, oh, you have to go. You can do that to me. It's like, oh my God, like I can't go with that guy. So, so my first reflex was like one face-off. He asked me to, hey, you want to go? It's like, no, I can't go with you. Like you're just gonna kill me. There's no way. Like I'm not a fighter. I'm not going. And when and he was like, well, you are going. I'm like, oh my God. So as soon as the ref dropped the puck, I just dropped the glove and started jumping on him. It was like, this is my only chance. And after that, every time I was actually playing against his team, I was like, oh my God, not again. It was like, it wasn't fun.
I was kind of hoping for a Komets name to pull up. That makes for good podcast for us.
So we're starting to get a bunch of questions in now from fans for you. So I'm going to let Ed read one from Nick Stevenson here, and then we'll lead into the next one.
Yeah. What advice would you give to youth players?
Sorry, I missed that one.
What advice would you give to youth players?
The first one I will give is never think you are working hard enough. It's something I see with young players right now is you can have as much talent as you want, but players who makes it in the NHL and players who have a good career, they overwork everybody. They don't take free time. They I have a lot of stories on Sidney Crosby because I know a lot of people that actually knows him and play with him, and you know he will check the way he skates every year and try to change stuff to get better. And you know he's not the best player in the world for no reason. He's working harder than anybody. And I think this is the advice I will say. It's like any free time you have. I know kids like to play Fortnite and play video games and stuff like that, but just take half an hour of your time, go shoot some pucks, go work out, go for a 5K run. Just do something that others won't do, so you will get in front of them.
Sure. So the next question leading into that is Sam wants to know, how does it make you feel to know that there are youth players in Fort Wayne wearing 94 because of you?
That's crazy. You know, it's it's something. You know, you're playing hockey, and it's something that hits me in Fort Wayne. Is after games, you get out of the locker room and see all those people's waiting for you and cheers for you. This is incredible. I try to enjoy the most of it when I was there, but it's really after your career that you realize how fun that was. And I remember it was 2 years ago maybe now that when we did the little reunion there. Yeah. It's in Fort Wayne, and I signed some autographs between periods, and having people coming at me like that. I'll be honest with you. You know, I played there for 3 years, and when they told me I was signed signature after periods, I was like, oh really? Like nobody's gonna come see me. I was sitting by two, like, you know, like Guy Dupree and guys like that. I'm like, well, nobody's gonna come see me. And just some people came, talk to me, and express sometimes what I changed their life after a game, stuff like that. That was shocking. And I saw that question coming from Sam Stratman, and Sam and his family become true friends to me. Aiden there, that he was, you know, he was wearing my number all the time, and every second period when I was starting the period, I will go knock on the window to his to him, and that was something special. And I'm still really good friends with that family because they brought me a lot there, and a lot of motivation.
That's awesome.
Got a question here from Angelo. What was a shocking moment you had that wasn't from winning the championships?
shocking in a good way, or?
Sure.
Good,
Yes
bad,
or no?
indifferent.
Yeah. It's up to interpretation.
Well, if I think a bit personal here, it like I said before, it's the way I was scoring goals that first year. My best year in junior, I think it's like 14 goals, and coming in the International Hockey League, my first year I got 34. And I was shocked how everything was going in, and the impact I got on the team that year. And I don't know if you guys remember, but it was 34 goals, and I don't remember playing much of the power play that year either. Most of those goals was 5-on-5 or PK goals. So that was shocking to me. Scoring goals. And I remember my family calling me, like, "What's going on with you?" Like, I don't know. I'm just, and I will give a huge thank you to Shafranov on those 34 goals, though, because I remember some of it I didn't do much.
Yeah.
Anything else in there?
That's about all the questions
Everything we got
on
so
the fans so far. But you said you're not much of a fighter, but looking at 3 of the years, you got quite a few penalties gathered up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think I was not a fighter, but like I said, I love to get under skins of players. So sometimes I had to insert my act and respond. And of course, I wasn't hiding. So and I was an emotional player. So yes, I did fight sometimes by emotion, but it's part of the game, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So what he's saying is he's like a Justin Taylor from Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Or an AJ. So.
And it's always easier too. It's for a win with the crowd. I know how much they love that. So
yeah, we kind of
after after a good fight, I'll can train the crowd too. So that was that was fun.
So here's a question that we don't really ask it much. Being from the era that you played in when fighting was still more of a part of the game, how do you feel about like the new rules? I think the AHL has it, and I know the E has it now, to where you're only allowed 10 fights and then you're suspended.
Yeah, that's a tricky. I wasn't a fighter, so I don't want to put my shoes in those guys' shoes, because I know some guys I used to go night after night after night, and it's probably put a big stress on some of these guys. I know we talked about Legs before. I knew that Legs was not too stressed about that. He was pretty comfortable to go fighting, but it's not the case for every player.
Right.
But one thing though is, if there wasn't fight back then, I was doing quite a cheap shots in games, and I mean, I would have been just worse, because sometimes that some guys on the other teams like, oh, I don't want to handle this after I do something. So obviously in Fort Wayne I was well protected. We had a lot of tough guys. I know you guys are gonna have McMillan later today, and obviously having Mac, Legs, Bertram, Ensign was able to drop the gloves. Woods the year after. I mean, I know I was well protected, but
I keep forgetting. I forget how loaded they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, if I didn't have to fight, sometimes probably I would have been worse too. I would have been more cheap shots and more stuff. So it's kind of it's a little bit hard on that. I don't know if leagues are really getting good suspension about like elbowing and shot to the head and stuff like that. It might be okay and go away, but it's another way to protect players, I think.
So I didn't look. Did you play with Mac at all? You did?
With Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
All right. So since we have him later,
Yeah,
what's your best Mac story now? Because we're gonna bring this.
Because he's got some for you about you. He's already warned us that nobody's off limits.
But honestly, it might be some concussion back in the days. I don't remember much of
Your concussions
Mac,
are
or his.
well, maybe both. but Mac, he wasn't the tallest guy, so it was pretty impressive what Mac was doing on the ice. I mean, Legs is a big boy. Everybody knew he was there for that. But when I saw Mac, he was probably one of the guys I wouldn't go with him if I was playing against, because for sure he would have kicked my ass.
He did that to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, talking to him on the phone. I've talked to him quite a few times now, and he's hilarious. Last night he was talking about Shocky's loss of hair.
He was great guy. Seriously, a great guy. Like, I have nothing bad to say about him. Nothing.
Yeah, he's hilarious to talk to. Joe wants to know what the values for the future with your company KAM Sports is.
Values. That's a big question.
Yeah, that one's kind of loaded.
Yeah. Seriously, I'll just, like I said earlier, I started that without, like, first, well, I'll start it from the beginning. Is when I stopped playing, I had that behind my head. So I got approached by other agencies to actually work for them. And I think one of my good skills is really to negotiate contract is what I like. And if I was going to work for someone else, I would probably more be a scout and stuff like that, which scout/advisor, and I didn't think that was a good path for me. So I decided to do it myself, which involved a lot of money, a lot of time. And I think like I was, as a player, I overworked everybody, and it brought me a lot of success right away. So the values for the future is just seriously just to keep the way I'm doing right now. Be present, be there for the players in bad moments, which I think this is the most difficult part. It's easy to be there when everything is easy and,
Right.
and guys are doing good, but when guys are not, I remember when I got sent down, and I won't name any names. I know that will be probably your next question, but I will not answer that. Is the agent I had back then is I got released from the Boston Bruins, and I called him to say, well, I just got released. What's the next step? And it's like, oh man, okay, no problem. Let me check a few things. I call you back before the end of the day. That was the last time I actually spoke to that agent.
Wow.
Never called me back, never answered my calls, never, which,
That's a good one.
It's something that's really, I was shocked, and it's something in that was one of the reasons I wanted to become an agent, because I wanted to make a difference. And I think my experience as a player and my partner experience as a player bring a lot of, on the table too.
So Sam's got another question for you: is how's the whole COVID-19 affecting your job as an agent with your players? Well,
I went on vacation way before I actually was supposed to. Normally during a full year, I will say I have maybe 2 or 3 weekends off that I don't have any hockey and nothing to do, no development camp or nothing. So now it's a lot of phone work. Obviously, I have the June 1st date that I have some players that have to sign their NHL contract before that date, or they're going to be free agent again. So right now it's a lot of phone work, trying to also speak with the guys, because all the gyms are closed, right? So trying to find solution for the guys to stay in shape, because we never know what's going to happen and when actually hockey is going to start back. So with the draft being pushed too. So there's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of paperwork to be done. So trying to clean everything, make sure I'm ready if actually hockey starts again, or be ready for next season.
I mean, I was thinking about that. That makes that real hard for you to sell a guy that's been sitting at home for 3 months and you don't know what he's actually been doing as far as, is he in shape? Is he, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. And I know my guys, like I said, I'm really close to all of my players. I'm taking a lot of pride to do that. And seriously, I think I have a great group of guys that I can easily put my head on the table for them without being scared of that. But
I got you.
that comes too for me to call every 2 weeks, or my partner call them every 2 weeks and make sure that they're on the good page. And it's something every time we meet families and players, it's something we put on the table saying that, starting today, we will be representing you. So I'll be professional. I'll work hard for you. But on the other way, you'll be representing Camp Sports as well.
Correct.
So if you do something and you're not, like if I'm selling you, you get there and you're not doing the job, the next time I'm going to try to sell someone to that team, my reputation is going to be affected. So,
Sure.
I think that my player experience, guys know that we are really honest and brutally honest often, and I don't see many of my players actually lying to us to stuff like that, because they know. Well, first of all, we know everything. We always find a way to know. So, and we have parents calling us like, I know you spoke to my son, tried to, like you told him to do that and that, he's not doing it. Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, we always find our ways.
That's awesome. Yeah. Don't give up too many of your secrets.
I won't.
So how many guys are you representing now? What are you up to?
It's always moving. Right now we have from Bantam to pros, we have about 30 players.
Nice.
So I always said 30 players is 60 parents.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's a lot of work. We just add some scouts with us too. The last couple of months, try to help us with some areas. And we still in Quebec right now. We don't go much outside of that because I really want to manage my time properly. But we're trying to bring some buddies in to help us out and make sure that we can go to the next step after that.
Sure. See if there's anything else here. Not yet.
What's your thoughts about this? With the ECHL, they canceled the season. I mean, as a player or from a player standpoint, what does that do to you? What does that mean?
If what? Sorry, I missed the middle of that.
With the ECHL canceling the rest of the season, from a player standpoint,
how does it affect the player yesterday?
It's like ending your season way too soon. And like I said, the gyms are closed. It's not much guys can do other than trying to do what they can at home right now. And what's really sad is some of these players never going to come back. Some players were at the end of their career, or maybe thinking about it, and maybe they won't have a job next year, or maybe and that's sad. Seriously, finishing your career that way. I mean, it's unbelievable. But again, I think that was the right decision by all professional hockey and professional sports to end everything. But it's as a player, I would have been shocked, lost. If you don't make the playoffs, it's already summer is so long. So imagine now it's going like probably these guys can wait already to be back for next year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've heard it all, but down here the rumor is that the NHL is planning on coming back in July to finish the season. Yeah. How do you feel about their plan with the whole play the playoffs through, take October off, and then jump into the next season in November? If that works out.
Well, Of course, now I am on the other side of the industry, so it's all about protecting the player. We do have communication on that every week about some scenarios and some
Sure.
possibilities. The thing that scares me the most is bringing back guys after a long period of time that they're off to playoff level. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know it's not the same hockey. I think players will be exposed to a lot of injuries. And what's going to happen with guys that actually they're going to be free agent on July 1st?
Right.
How this is going to work? Is these guys going to be comfortable to play and put their future on the line? And, it's really delicate. And I don't see how this can work. Like, how they will be able to make that work, but it's obviously we all want hockey to come back as soon as possible, but
It's going to get interesting.
We'll see. I guess it's really a tough call.
So one question that Don always asks: Were you much of a going out to eat kind of guy when you were in Fort Wayne? Much? Did you go to any of the popular places?
Well, yeah. I mean, 22. Applebee's all the time. We had some deals there too. Makes it easier on us.
Sure.
Because my first year I wasn't making much, so
Right.
any deals was good. And,
What about the important ones like White Castle? Why do I always
did that
say
again.
that? Powers or Coney Island?
oof. No, I was more like Applebee's and Olive Garden.
Oh, so you went to the
That was-
fancy
that was-
places.
Man,
Fancy, oh, you
yeah,
guys
us poor people get burgers wrapped in plastic.
Yeah,
oh, you guys,
we always ask about Powers, and everybody always laughs. They're like, "Oh no, Coney Island."
well, you guys should come to Canada. There's some good burgers place all over the place. So I knew I could have enough of that food during the summer.
I need to come back to Montreal. It's been a long time. I love the food scene up there.
No, it's always good.
You love the food anywhere.
I do. I quit playing hockey and I gave up working out. That wasn't a good idea.
Here we got a question. Do you miss the game, and do you have any regrets about your career?
Missing the game, yes and no. I think I've done what I had to do in hockey, and what I kind of stopped playing young. I was I think 25 years old, so I always said the day that I didn't believe in myself to go up, I will stop, and I'm really proud that I actually respect that. I didn't hang around and try to just stay in minor hockey for forever.
Sure.
For me, it was important to get a second career and do something else. If I regret something, with all the knowledge I have now, I think I would have worked harder and let maybe girls away a little bit more when I was playing junior. Try to maybe be a better hockey player than just trying to get girls all the time. But we all been young, and it's probably the only thing I have. But what I miss the most about the game is obviously the reaction of the crowd after a goal and after winning, and all, like the locker room. This is something I think any hockey player will miss that forever. There's a lot of emotion there, and getting noticed for what you do, and it's really fun. But I really enjoy it, and I really went over that. I don't think I missed it now because I'm seeing so much games, but and I'm not playing much now. So if I would miss it, I will probably play a lot more often.
You play in men's league or anything up there?
I didn't play any hockey game the last 2 years, actually.
Wow.
So was there a point or I'm just gonna be done moment, or was it just something you just at the end of the season you were like, I'm done, I'm not coming back next year? Or was there somebody that you were talking to that was helping you out to make that decision?
That's a good question, and that's a good story too. Actually, I don't know if you guys remember, my last year in Fort Wayne was the first year in the CHL.
Yep.
In Fort Wayne, and that was the big thing that Chucker was going to Italy. And the Frankie family came at me as soon as Chucker announced that. They came back at me, made me a really good offer. I couldn't say no. And obviously the chance to come back in Fort Wayne for me was like, okay, that was a perfect fit. And that season was really, really hard on me. I got a lot of back problems. I get into that season, nothing was working on. I really had a tough season, but as soon as the season ended, I really went back as usual in the playoff. I'm not sure. I don't remember for sure, but I think the first game of the playoff, I got like 3 or 4 goals, and I just started back, and everything started to kind of click again. And so after that, I got my exit meeting with everybody. Got back home. Started working out for the next season. Actually, that year I was going a tryout with San Antonio in the AHL, and I signed with Cincinnati in the ECHL. And more the summer was going on, I didn't feel the same. I didn't feel I was well prepared. I had a lot of my back still hurts a lot. And actually, 2 days before I was supposed to leave for Cincinnati, I looked at my girlfriend and I said, I think I'm not going. And she was, what do you mean? Like, well, I think I'm done. And so I went back to talk with my dad, and my dad is someone that actually doesn't talk much. He's not someone that actually, it's like I was playing hockey for myself. I wasn't playing hockey for him or anybody else. So he told me he kind of feel it too, that I wasn't ready. I wasn't the same. And 2 days before, I decided to call San Antonio and said that, well, I'm not going. It's like, oh, what? And I always going to remember the coach there asked me, oh, really? What are you going to do with your life then? I'm like, and that shocked me. I was like, well, just watch me. It kind of cranked me out, give me the boost to the future. But yeah, that was the moment. But that was not. This is maybe a little regret that I have, is I didn't get that season that I couldn't say, this is my last season. Let's really enjoy all of it. It kind of just ends like that. But that was my decision, and I had the contract in my pocket. I could have go and just hang it there and just keep going, but it wasn't.
Plus, you'd had to be in Cincinnati. Who the hell wants that?
Jesus.
What?
I said, plus you'd have to live in Cincinnati. Who the hell would want that?
But they were in different leagues, so it might have been okay.
You also spent some time up in Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Fort Wayne and Kalamazoo have a nice thing going on now. Is there a big difference in the fan base? They have some pretty passionate fans too. But
10.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
You know what? That was actually scary for me when I decided to go there. Obviously, the reason was because they were in the East Coast League, and I thought my chances to get noticed in American Hockey League was better, since the International Hockey League was a little bit unstable. And I remember Nick Buchland calling me, and against Kalamazoo, I did some cheap shots and stuff like that. So I wasn't sure how people would react to having me actually go in Kalamazoo. And I asked Nick about that. I said, well, people here love hockey, and if they hate you, it means that they will like you here. And it was really the case. I was actually, Nick Buchland is a great guy. I had a lot of chemistry with him. Give me a leadership role as soon as I got there. we were actually talking about like game plans together and stuff like. It really got me involved, and I really liked that. It was really it was actually a good season.
That's great.
I love that barn too.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my favorite away trips to take. I just love going to Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
That, and we outnumber their fans up there. So
The home away from home.
Yeah, I remember seeing some cardboard there saying what Curadeau in French means classless. That's what I find there. So.
That's great.
That's awesome.
So we got another question here for you. What's one of your favorite games to play as a Comet?
Well, I think Game 7 of my first year, being down 3-1 in the final, and that year we were unbeatable at home, and we lost our first 2 games at home. And for us, it was shocking. We're down 3-1, and being able to bring that back, Game 7 in Fort Wayne for the cup, second overtime. I mean,
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you ask best, you know?
That was awesome. I remember that goal.
Yeah.
This one guy
me
this
too.
one guy scored it pretty well, I heard.
I remember the people around us were like, I remember there was people there was people around us goes, I don't give a shit who scores, just somebody end it.
You know, Game 7, second overtime, you can barely stand on your legs. You know, I remember, you know, winning the cup, and everybody was just sitting in the locker room looking at each other, and just, you know, it's like everybody was so tired. We gave everything that year to came back and win that cup. It was probably the best moment of my hockey career for sure.
Awesome.
I remember the atmosphere that night too.
Yeah.
When you guys came out in the second period, it was quiet. Like everybody was so on edge.
It was quiet.
And then when you scored that, I've never heard it louder.
Yeah. It was
it's kind of those moments that you cannot remember everything because everything happened so fast after that. But
right.
It was a hell of a night. It was really really fun. But all the special nights in Fort Wayne when the Coliseum is full. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's fans there are really passionate and it's really fun.
Yeah, it's a great place, and all that. We had a really young team this year down here, and they all didn't know what it was. And I remember after opening night, and it was full, and they passed out all these little lights that blink and stuff. And all the new guys that we've had on the show, they all say they'll never forget skating out to that, and they didn't understand what the atmosphere would really be like.
Yeah, I mean, even my when I came back for my third year in Kalamazoo, the opening night, I remember when they announced my name, the crowd and the power. I was like, oh my God, you know, like it felt so good to be back, and everybody was really welcoming too. I remember that night too. That's
awesome. Well, we don't want to keep you all night. Let you get back to hanging with the family, and but we do appreciate you coming on. We'll have to do it again when we can get Leo to jump on, or Chalker. We can get Chalker on. You guys can talk together on it and be fun.
Yeah, maybe you can come down and
get him down for the alumni party.
I do run into Chalker in some American League games now, so it's fun too. And Legs, obviously, I spoke to him for the Komets too, trying to bring some players here and there. Sometimes we already brought a really good player in Fort Wayne. 2 years ago. So
I think I know who you're talking about.
Bring us some defensemen.
Those defensemen are pretty rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually would have had one really good one for this year, but obviously with the situation, we kind of didn't work, right? So
next year.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I'll send you some junior kids. You send us defensemen.
Yeah, that's good. I always give Legs the first shot on my players, and after that is bad if he doesn't take them. You can tell him that.
I think we will.
That's great.
You know what? It'd be fun too. We'll have to give you a shot one of these days when we get Legs back on, because
we'll put you on together.
Yeah, sure.
Just
sure. We can speak French to you guys.
Oh God.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I was going to
I'm
say.
pretty good with my French too.
We'll guess at it as best as we can. Just don't talk that fast.
We'll try.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, we'll let you go. We'll be in touch here soon.
All right.
I will be in touch for sure soon. So.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys stay safe, and thanks for having me again.
Yeah, man.
Thank
we'll
you.
talk to you.
All right, take care.
See ya. All right, guys. That was Matthieu Curadeau, 94 in your playbook there. So we're definitely going to have him back on again with legs. That would be a blast. So
Hopefully we can convince him to come down for the Komets alumni party.
I think we could.
Yeah.
So don't forget, 3 hours from right now on the dot, we will be back with fan favorite Brad McMillan to share some great stories. That might be a show where little ears may not be a good idea, as a fair warning.
Yeah.
So
On the
you
dot's
tonight.
kind of a loose
Yeah.
term with Nick
Yeah.
here.
yeah, on the what, huh?
On the dot is kind of a loose
It'll be
term
right
with
around 9, somewhere around then. We're waiting for him to call because he's got to get off work. And then
When he
call.
says 9 o'clock on the dot, that means before 10.
Smart asses. So, all right, guys, we will be back 3 hours. So, think of questions to ask Mac and fun times and stories that you have that we can even share with him of yours. So, our intern will be with us later on, and we got some gifts from fans that we're going to open later. So,
Yay.
it'll be a fun time. We'll talk to y'all in a couple hours.
Yay.